Plus Hangout. Really appreciate everyone being on. I got to give major kudos to Ken Troupe, who got this organized with the Minnesota Timberwolves, one of the leaders in social media and what they're doing in this space. We have Jeff, and the name is you said everyone's pronounced it different ways. Jeff, go ahead and pronounce your own name.
Let's go with Munneke. That's the most common thread.
I love it. There you go. Jeff Munneke with the Minnesota Timberwolves, and also Bob Stanke with the Minnesota Timberwolves, and Ken Troupe, who's the one that's really organized this entire thing. Wanted to introduce him, and then I've got a few questions to start it, and then we'll open the floor to questions out there. Ken, go ahead. You got the floor.
Hey, thanks, Chris. Yeah, I've known, as Jeff mentioned, we've known each other for a long time in the ticket sales side of the business. And now that I've been back out on the social media side and doing LinkedIn training, I had the fortunate enough to be able to go in last December and train the ticket sales and service staff on LinkedIn. Started a relationship with Jeff, obviously, that I had, and then obviously Chris Wright. Chris Wright is a really sharp guy and really gets it, and is probably one of the best presidents or leaders in the sports industry, in my opinion. So hopefully you can jump on here. And Jeff, thanks for helping put this together. And Bob, thanks a lot, too, for everything you did on your end.
Well, I've got to start the first one out right out of the blocks, and I know you guys did it just for us. Minnesota Timberwolves just announced yesterday they've got a pretty cool thing in social media called Minnesota Lynx. It's Wolves Nation, Lynx Nation. And what I'm reading is this is the first in the NBA to do this. Tell us what this is about, and how have you guys become the pioneers in the social media space? And that's for you, Jeff, starting out of the block.
Yeah, you know what? I may, if you don't mind, I may refer to Bob in this one. Bob just started with the organization here 2 weeks ago. Has already brought just great technology and just unbelievable programming into our organization. So if you don't mind, I'm going to have defer over to Bob here and take Lynx Nation.
All right, Bob, what do you got?
Yeah, we're super excited about this new development, and we are the first ones in the NBA to have a site like this. And really, it's a way for us to really attract, connect, engage, entertain our fan base, who are very loyal fans and have been since 1989 on the Wolves side and since 1999 on the Lynx side. So it's really a system that puts a game inside of the game element to this. It's a peer gamification play. Fans can earn points and badges and participate in contests and rewards right in real time at the game. So it's a scalable site that can either go from the desktop to your mobile device without it's responsive design. So it goes right down to a mobile device, gives someone sitting right in their seat the experience of a second screen type content portal. So yeah, we're super excited. Lynx Nation launched on Friday. Today we had the Lynx home opener. They got us a big win today, and lynxnation.com was a big win. So we're super excited about that. Wolves Nation is coming soon. We're going to finish up development on that in the next couple of weeks and launch that before the NBA draft. To answer your question on why the Wolves are leaders in this space, it's really credit to the leadership inside the company. It's credit to Chris Wright and Ted Johnson, who's the VP that I report to, who really are cowboys, so to speak, in that we're just going to take every chance we got. We're going to see what works and what doesn't work. And coming from a development background, 15 years in this business, that's exactly what wins this game. So, I've been with the Wolves organization for 4 weeks now, but I've been a fan since the beginning, and it's always been fun to watch this organization be progressive.
And Jeff, obviously, you're the Vice President of Fan Experience Community. This is something that no longer can you just throw out the basketball, let the players play, and fans just sit on their seat. You've got to engage them. How important is this space and what y'all are doing to make the experience more than just the actual game?
Oh, you're 100% correct, and we're having such a great time with this, and we really encourage all of our staff members to get on all the social media aspects, whether it's Twitter, Facebook, blogs, Google+. And, you know, this application that we're doing right now, I see huge opportunities for us with our season ticket holders and fans. And a couple of unique things that we've done is we've invited some of our top social media season ticket holders into both Timberwolves and Lynx Media Day here the last couple of years and come in as an actual reporter. And so what we do is we give them access, give them credentials. We have them come in, we tweet and Facebook all their observations. They just have a great time with it. And we actually set up a booth just like a working media member. And so for each of those opportunities, we've had 10 season ticket holders that basically are working media member. And they're tweeting out and Facebooking out their observations. They're obviously talking it up to all their friends. They're, you know, you can't believe where I'm at today. I'm down talking to Ricky Rubio or Simone Augustus. And then they tweet out their pictures and observations. So it's been really, really fun.
All right, Ken, I'll let you, since you've got these guys on, why don't you start this, and then we'll open it to the floor. Anybody wants a question or whatever. Ken, go ahead.
Chris, what kind of feedback did you get, or you know, what kind of build-up or buzz do you have from season ticket holders coming to you, wanting to be part of, or you know, fans coming to you, wanting to be part of what you're doing on social media, like you know, being part of that media day and things like that? I mean, is it? You think this year, I mean, you're going to have people beating down your door to be part of that?
No question. In fact, we had a couple repeaters from Timberwolves Media Day over to Lynx Media Day this year just because they're so active with it, and they're really passionate season ticket holders. You're right. It is going to be a little bit of a dilemma, I think, going forward, that all the people that have had the opportunity to be a participant in this are going to probably say, hey, can I do it again? Obviously, with a season ticket base of 8,000 on the Wolves side and several thousand on the Lynx side, we want to create as many opportunities for other people to get this benefit in the future as well. So we'll redo it and have new people involved next year.
Excellent. What other questions from the floor here?
Fire away, gentlemen and ladies. One lady. If y'all don't pop on, I'll keep asking questions all night. Y'all know me.
I might mention one other thing too that Ken turned us on to when he had a meeting and came and did LinkedIn training with our Timberwolves staff, is that he suggested we use Tout. And I've been using Tout on almost every game day for testimonials, for opportunities to video some of our touchpoint program for season ticket holders, and that's given nice 15-second shots into our social media areas to just say, wow, how do these guys do that, or how does a season ticket holder get involved? And so that's been another really fun aspect as well. Yeah,
that's interesting you bring up Tout. I utilized that a lot this weekend at the PGA Tour. I was doing videos for the Byron Nelson, and it's so easy. My background's video, but it would always be a pain because I would have to do a video, then I'd have to put it in the computer, I'd have to edit it up, and it takes a long process. Tout, or anybody that doesn't know Tout, it's a really cool aspect that you can film something on your iPhone, and it goes directly. It's 15 seconds to give you a countdown, and it goes directly to Twitter or Facebook, which makes it quick, efficient, and it makes it almost like it's live. So I kind of like that.
I like Tout, and the reason I suggested it is because, I mean, that you talk about making a true connection with a fan or with a season ticket holder, you know, and putting that video and that piece of content out there that's forever going to be out there. That's really making a connection with somebody, and that's, you know, I know in my experience in the sports business and the ticket sales business is, you know, making that personal connection with somebody. It's just so important. That's why things like Tout, you know, and Google Plus Hangouts and things like that are going to be, you know, and maximizing LinkedIn and things like that are going to be, you know, very smart if you're good at it to engage season ticket holders.
Well, we want to welcome Ben. Ben over here on the far, I don't know what side he is on you. He's on the far left for me. Ben works with Google and heard about that we were doing this, and he works in the Minnesota area. So social media is amazing. He helped promote you guys, and he's a big T-Wolves fan.
That's true. Yep, that's actually why I kind of jumped on. I just wanted to introduce myself. We've actually been working with the Timberwolves a little bit. Actually, this was when Scott Spirit Glosey was still there, and I know you guys were transitioning a little bit, so it's kind of nice to see you, Bob. I believe that he's kind of taken over some of the stuff he was doing, so it's really cool to just kind of jump on and see what everyone's talking about.
Excellent. How about you, Matthew? What's up with you?
Hello.
Can you talk?
Yeah, I can talk. Yeah.
I didn't know if your mic was on or not.
Oh no, it was just off. This is actually my first time ever for a SB chat or a Google Plus. I'm kind of observing right now. I'm still in college, so.
Oh, you're still in college. That's okay.
Yeah.
You don't have to make that a disclaimer. I'm still in college.
No, but I'm still getting my feet wet in the sports game, so I'm all ears right now. If I have questions, I'll fire through.
Hey, man, when I was in college, I was on public access television at midnight. Go for it. And I was pathetic. I'm still pathetic, but so what? Jason always has something to say. What's up, Jason?
I mean, being in the Google Hangout here and doing SB chat, you're already ahead of the game. You're already ahead of a lot of your peers because you're making connections that are as valuable, if not more valuable, than just sitting in class, to be honest. I mean, this business is very relationship-driven, whether that be B2C, B2B, peer-to-peer. I mean, you want to meet everyone that you can and just network. So, I mean, I give kudos to you for taking that initiative to be here tonight. But with that being said, I actually have a question with the T-Wolves for your social media. What kind of evaluation or benchmarks do you measure to have a truly effective campaign?
Bob, you want to take that one?
Yeah, sure, you bet. So when I came in 4 weeks ago, one of the first things we did was basically did an entire interactive audit, both of all of our websites as well as all of our social media properties, trying to find, where we're at today and where we want to be, 12 months from now, 36 months from now. So that audit included the good and the bad, things that we were doing good and things that we haven't done at all. And one area of that is definitely the measurement tool is one that we need to improve on. So going deeper than just, how many likes are we getting on Facebook, we want to make sure that we're engaging to the fullest degree possible. So we're going to dig a little bit deeper. We're going to look at some new analytics tools to really measure engagement levels a lot deeper than we are now. But, in general, all the main metrics that you would expect from a social media campaign we're measuring. I think that metrics is one of the biggest things we haven't done, and it's tough because it's my belief that we can't manage what we can't measure, and so we just need to do a better job of measuring.
What's interesting is the NBA, and hey, you guys are a very popular league, but let's face it, the NFL has always been number one. But for once, the NBA is beating them, and this is going to make y'all feel good. Y'all are beating them in the social media space. According to general sentiment, I don't know if y'all have read this report, it just came out recently, that y'all have 185 million fans on Twitter and Facebook, and according to social media analytics from them, since 2011, you're the #1 sports league in social media. That's got to give you guys pride that the NBA has taken this and taking it seriously, because a lot of people laugh at this, so like, oh, social media, I don't need to be on this nonsense. But if you really do embrace this space and really realize that it can be as powerful as ESPN or Fox Network, and you can own this space, you can do great stuff, and these reports prove that. Why do you think the league has taken to it, and what have y'all been pleasantly surprised or excited about in this space?
Yeah, I actually think it was Mashable that came out a couple of days ago and said that the NBA was the first one to reach 5 million followers on Twitter. The NBA, and we credit, David Stern, our commissioner, who, again, it shows leadership has been very progressive, putting a lot of energy behind building a very powerful global marketing engine. And so we're a part of that, and it's nice because I have regular calls on a weekly basis with the NBA guys and gals over there, and they're always talking about, what they're doing next and what they recommend we try, and there's a lot of knowledge sharing in between the league. So really, besides being individual teams, we're a powerhouse of 30 teams helping each other, as well as having a wonderful association to back us up.
I think the other thing, too, I'd say is that the NBA is perfect for social media. You have quick bites of highlight films of dunks or great passes, and I think those things can be, relogged really, really quickly. And we know that we saw that from Ricky Rubio this last year. Every single night, he has a highlight film of some crazy pass he's throwing, and so immediately he comes on the floor. Everybody's got their flip cameras out. Everybody's got their iPhones out, and they're taking photos of all his spectacular passes and immediately transmitting those onto the internet. And so it was really fun to see what he brought, or the elements he brought to the table for us this last year. That may have happened anyway a little bit, but I think he enhanced it even further for us.
Thanks to the awesome team play we had this year and Ricky Rubio and the awesome play of Kevin Love, we had the third highest growth rate among all the NBA teams in regards to social media presence.
Wow. Nice, guys.
Well, a couple of superstars will do for you.
To be fair, you guys got a couple of nice players, but you guys also were forward thinkers, and you guys behind the scenes did a lot of efforts. Chris and Jeff, and you guys did a great job. I just have a quick question kind of on metrics before we get too far off this. And Bob, this might be something you want to make a note of, and Jeff, maybe you can answer this. But, I think it's important to try to know, what kind of sales you're generating off of social engagement from your ticket sales reps and from your corporate sales guys. I know that I've been, got a lot of emails and notes this spring from reps saying, hey, I sold something else off a connection off of LinkedIn and things like that. But, Jeff, can you speak to, kind of ballpark dollars on what you think you guys did off, relationships through LinkedIn? And then, Bob, this is definitely something you'd want to try to, figure out how you're going to measure that going forward. Every team should. So.
Yeah, Ken, you're 100% right, and we haven't done a good job to date measuring those. But since you came in and gave us some new logic and ways to think through LinkedIn, that's been a big piece of what we've tried to measure this last year. Also, putting in the CRM, who's on Twitter, who's on Facebook, who's on LinkedIn, and then coming up with a game plan. And so our fan experience specialists are now meeting with the sales reps to come up with a game plan and how to use social media better, how to track it, and then ultimately how many sales you make from it. I don't have the exact data or numbers of how many we sold off of social media this last year, but I think it's coming. It's definitely coming, and we need to do a much better job with it.
Well, it brings up that point of this article. I'm going to go back to this article that I'm reading. I should probably send you all the link. I'll put it over here on the chat side. It was I know it was back in February, but it's still interesting about the NBA. They said since they've been doing social media, their TV ratings are up 52%, and y'all's sales have been up 30%. And they attributed a lot of it to when they started engaging in social media 2 years ago. So there is starting, social media is so new. So when people say, well, what's the ROI? What's the ROI? Well, what's the ROI of an emotional engagement with somebody and a personal touch with somebody? They're going to always come back. And if you keep touching people, they do. But over time, when you start seeing this stuff, there will be more case studies because there's no history behind it. It's so new. So I think we'll see more of that over time.
I mean, everybody that works in ticket sales that does it well knows that relationships is how you grow that business and how you maximize your suites and your groups and your season ticket sales from one client. So if you can use social media now to engage like that, I mean, that's the way to do it. And you can see the results the NBA is getting is great.
Yeah, we actually are going to be going out with a campaign here in the very near future to not only make sure we have every single birthday, every kid's name, but also see what's your Twitter handle. Are you on LinkedIn, and are you linking to us? And so we actually going to have a whole campaign with every season ticket holder coming up here this summer.
Interesting. That's pretty cool. I like that. Yeah, that's pretty cool. What would be really neat too? If you get someone to buy like a season ticket, this is just off the top of my head. But let's say someone says, okay, if you buy a season ticket, tell us your birthday, and you get a player to say, hey, happy birthday, John, season ticket holder, thanks for renewing. And how quick would that be on a tout? You could do a short little video,
Oh, it's a great idea, and we actually did a couple of really cool spots this year with Kevin Love and Ricky Rubio on our renewal campaign. We had Ricky Rubio talking Spanish just as a reminder that renewal is coming up. And we had Kevin Love sitting right next to him and said, well, fans, what he's trying to say is that renew your tickets. Hurry up here. And then we had a reminder email with the same thing, and it was really successful, and it just showed a light side of both Ricky and Kevin to our fans.
All right, Chris Kosmala, you've been quiet. Congratulations, by the way. He's got a new job.
Thank you.
He was with the LSU Tigers, and I don't know why he left, but okay. No, I'm kidding. You're now in Philadelphia?
I am working for Comcast Spectacor with the Flyers, the Sixers, the Wings, and the Philadelphia Soul. So thank you. Happy to be here.
Congratulations. You always have questions. Fire away.
Well, kind of going off of a little bit of what we've been talking about, I noticed that in last week's SBJ, the Lynx actually got a little bit of love about how they're weaving the Olympics into the season, how the organization's holding different events around, community events or watch parties or whatnot. How do you plan on weaving that into your social media strategy, or are you putting on additional programs because of the Olympics or in spite of what have you?
Well, that's a great question. We just had the WNBA commissioner in our office here the last couple of years as well. There are some restrictions to social media based on being on the Olympic team that we have to navigate through. So there's some things that the players can and can't say. Obviously, we're hopeful that they can have all their thoughts and all their observations come quickly that we can use to all of our fans. But obviously, there's going to be some basic things like viewing parties, opportunities if they do indeed win the gold, or I should say when they win the gold, come back. And when we've had this before, when some of our players have came back from the Olympics, we've had opportunities to come take photos with that player with their gold medal. And the gold medal is cool. When you get a chance to touch that thing, it's pretty amazing. It's quite a deal. And so we'll have some stuff not only during to watch the Olympics and just talk all the players through all the things that are happening overseas, but also when they return, great opportunities for us there as well.
Sure. That's actually really cool. They in a Sports Business Journal, they really kind of spelled everything out. I think the watch parties is a great idea and some of the other community events, but then afterwards, touching a gold medal, I think that, even if you're not a basketball fan in general, that's something you would still go to just because it's kind of like you said, when do you get to see a gold medal in person? That's really cool.
Yeah, it really is. We've had Kevin Love come back, and we've held a couple events with him, and when people actually get to touch that medal and see how heavy it is, and ultimately just be in and around that prestige of being around an Olympic gold medal, it's a pretty neat deal. So we're hopeful that when our three young ladies from the Lynx come back, we'll have the same opportunities.
Sure. Simone's still very much loved down in Baton Rouge. I can attest to that. There's still people who talk about her. People still talk about her all the time.
All right, I'm hearing that Chris Wright, the president of the Minnesota Timberwolves, is trying to get in. The problem is we're totally full right now, so we're going to have a volunteer, and I'm going to volunteer someone, a college pledge. I love you, bro, but you're going to have to back out. And
no problem.
You're the pledge for the night, and
okay.
We will haze you and come back again.
Click on that link. Click on that link and you can watch it. And certainly come back next week.
Hey, it's a nice way to say get the hell out of our show. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah,
Hey, thanks for coming, Matthew.
No problem. Have a good night.
Thanks for being on.
Nice job, Chris.
Yates loves kicking people out.
Hey, man, you got to pick on the college.
He's banned forever.
I'm definitely not kicking out any of you folks. I like y'all too much. We need the folks from the T-Wolves. Brad Harrison just may have jumped in too quick. We are actually building an audience here, Charles. This is getting scary. Brad.
It's been challenging.
Hey, Brad, it was great. I'm glad you came on, but get the hell off our show. We're trying to get the president in here from the Minnesota Timberwolves, and punks like you keep coming on the show.
That means...
That was a joke, Brad, but not really. No. Brad, we love you, but come back in about 20 minutes.
There you go.
Good. Sometimes we got to get the prez on, man. I got to do what it takes, right, Charles?
We promised the people the prez. You got to give them the prez.
What's the name of the guy that makes all the football cuts? Is it the Turk?
Yeah,
I'm the Turk. That would be funny, like I'm the Turk, like nobody wants to see me. There are some people that don't want to see me on Google+. I am the Turk. But you got to be. You got to roll with this thing. Allison, you've been quiet. It's your turn. Throw some out there.
What would you guys say is, yeah, I know you said that you've rolled up the Lynx and the Timberwolves is upcoming with the NBA draft. Do you have anything that you're really, as far as a differentiation between the two? Are you trying to keep them the same, or what are you looking at as your biggest difference between the two programs?
Bob, you want to take that one for the Lynx and Wolves Nation?
Yeah, I could take that one. So initially, they'll be very similar in terms of their model and their infrastructure. The WolvesNation.com will definitely have a very large audience initially off the bat. So, we're using Lynx Nation right now as a good beta test for us, considering we just launched it 3 days ago. So now's the time to work out the kinks and get everything figured out before we expect a very large Wolves audience to jump onto WolvesNation.com. So off the bat, they're very similar. They're going to look very similar. But who's to say, 3 months from now, we might have learned some valuable lessons from LynxNation.com and roll in some new things for Wolves Nation.
You guys should look at. I got some buddies here, Fan Corps, and Ken knows these guys. I should connect y'all with Fan Corps. Really interesting concept. What they do is it's brand ambassador type stuff for fans, where it's not just join our page, or they've got to send you pictures and stuff and posting T-Wolf stuff, and they get bonus points, and then they can utilize that to get discounts at the store, so it drives traffic to your store. It's really some interesting stuff that y'all could look into.
Hey, do I see Chris Wright coming up there?
Hey, how about that? How's it going?
There he is.
Technology, guys, it's a beautiful thing.
Hey, man, not bad. Thanks for coming on.
Not at all. It just simply, for whatever reason, Chris, with a 4G Verizon phone, could not get in, and so found a laptop, and thanks for the link, Ken Troupe, and here we go.
I hope Verizon's not a sponsor.
Yeah.
No longer
yes.
a sponsor.
Do it. That's the way to do it. Maybe we'll get you AT&T as a sponsor. Really appreciate you coming on. Basically what we've been talking about, and the other reason you couldn't get on, the show's been so popular, we had it totally full, so we had to kick some people out for you. It was like Survivor.
So maybe that was because Jeff Munneke was on.
Yeah.
Well, Chris, we were just saying Chris Yates has got to be the Turk. He's got to be the guy coming down the locker room and booting the guys off like on a football team. He's the Turk.
It was great. It was great.
Hey,
I had to get the Prez on.
Well, thanks so much, guys.
We appreciate you coming on, and Ken, appreciate you getting him on. What we've been talking about, and one of the things that we're really impressed with what the Timberwolves have been doing, y'all are the pioneers in the social media space. As the president of the team, how impressed, how surprised, how excited, what words would you use to see, when people first dive in, they're not really sure what social media will do for the team. What about you? Is it exciting? Is it surprising? What do you think about it?
Well, I mean, there's so much to the question that you ask, but I mean, obviously, the basis of everything that we do these days, we try anyway to, number one, put the consumer at the center of everything that we're doing. And so, we're trying to create relevance across every single platform inside of, our different sort of worlds. And obviously, the digital world is a very, very important and significant piece of that. And, wherever we possibly can, we lean on data. We rely on, good, clean information that we're giving. And if you take a look at all of the data, it tells you that the social media world is having such a heavy influence now in so many different buying decisions that people are making. For those of you that follow sort of Ticketmaster, their live analytics arm, is doing some great work in the social media space. And, so if you take sort of just ticket buying alone, the recent data that we've taken a look at, there's 14% of people that in some way, shape, or form have used Facebook or are influenced by Facebook through and with their buying decisions. 14% of people who are buying single game tickets are influenced by Facebook. And then 20% of them have used social media in some way, shape, or form to sort of invite friends to go to games, with them. Then after that, 47% of them are basically saying that, Facebook is where they go to voice their opinions after the game to talk about their experience. So in terms of the influence of social media, just in terms of ticket buying alone, social media is having a major influence in buying decisions, and then is creating impressions for you afterwards in terms of the experience that they had inside of your arena.
All right, you're done. Thank you. That was all we needed from you. That was awesome. Thanks. Way to go. See you later. No,
okay, see you. Thanks, Chris.
That was excellent. That's a great point. I mean, you're one of the few that goes right to what's important. I mean, social media is about engagement, but you guys are in the business of making money, and you're pointing out that there is some ROI to this, and it's early, but you're already noticing that, huh?
Yeah, we're noticing that, and obviously we're trying to do some things as much as we possibly can to pave the way, as it were, in terms of the social interaction as well of our fans. And I don't know if Bob Stanke is on tonight, but he can talk much better to this. He's our director of digital. Great guy, leading the charge in terms of where we're going with our Wolves Nation, our Lynx Nation, and that's the we've just launched our Lynx Nation site, which is really where all of our social media comes together. But it's a place where our fans can interact with each other. Gamification is huge these days. We're providing for them games online inside of that social space where they can sort of show their true colors, follow the team, build sort of a profile for themselves in terms of the Lynx and Timberwolves Nation space. So we're very, very excited about that space, and what Bob Stanke and our digital guys are doing as well.
We appreciate you announcing that day before you came on our show. We know you did it for that reason. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, it's open to the floor. Who's ready to lead off? I always like to let Ken, who put this all together. Ken, why don't you start out? What would you like to ask?
You know what, Chris? I think you guys are doing a great job with the Wolves Nation and the Lynx Nation, but there's a lot of people that pay attention to this or watch this show that are still trying to figure out just how to get in and how to start engaging via social media for their sports team. What would you say would be the one or two starting points for teams that aren't really heavily involved at this point?
Well, that's a great question. I mean, Ken a while ago, and Jeff Munneke is the master of this, and Jeff, pile on after I've finished here, but probably about 5, 6, 7 years ago, we used to talk about internally, if you're going to break it down to each individual fan, how do you create engagement for every single fan with your franchise? And then really the essence of that is, how do you communicate with your fans? So how do fans want to be communicated to? So a lot of people used to obviously like letter. A lot of people used to like fax. But then, as our world matured a little bit, it became email, it became text, and then now it's Twitter, it's LinkedIn, it's Facebook, etc. And as you build your fan base, one of the key things that I would tell anybody is that how well are you going to get to know every individual consumer and what they want out from the experience with your team. And then as you do that, the question becomes, how do they want to be communicated with? What is their what is the avenue in which you can reach them, and how do you reach them, and how do they want to be communicated to? And that's what we're trying to do. That's what we continue to try to figure out that every single day. Is it Facebook? Is it Twitter? Is it text? Is it email? What is it? What's the line of communication preference for every single one of your fans? And that's a chore. Your fan base is massive, whether it's season ticket holders, partial season ticket holders, individual ticket buyers. It's massive, but every single one of them has a preference. And if you're tweeting a 62-year-old like me, and that is not my preference. I want everything by email, and then because I'm just a casual user of Twitter, then you're not going to be successful in really truly developing a relationship with with that consumer. Jeff,
how exciting
maybe I'd add to that sorry, Chris, but I thought I'd add to that by saying that one of the things that we're going to unveil here in the next month or so is a campaign called Wolves All Access, which we've been doing for a while, but we just didn't formally have a name for it. But it's going to be called Wolves All Access, where we're coming up with niche events for our season ticket base all throughout the course of the year. So we feel that you have, on the Timberwolves side, you have 8,000 season ticket holders. So within that niche, you probably have people that like dogs, people that might like to go walk their dogs. You might have people that watch movies. You might have people that like a certain type of music. So what we're going to do is we're going to create all these different events that we're going to have small niche events all throughout the course of the year, where it's a social opportunity to go network with all those season ticket holders and build that relationship internally there as well.
And Bob's showing it right now. If anybody wants to look at what's going on, it's kind of cool. What I like, Chris, what you said is you mentioned all these things, how to interact with fans, and both you and Jeff can answer this question. Jeff probably excites you a little bit too, being VP of Fan Experiences. You did not mention radio. You didn't mention newspaper. You didn't mention TV, which is relying on other people to transmit your message. You were talking about Facebook and Twitter and YouTube and social media, which you can control that messaging, and you don't have to wait for someone to come cover you. How exciting is it for you to now have the power in the messaging?
Yeah, I mean, it's it is phenomenal. I mean, you've got to my CMO Ted Johnson tells me all the time, Chris, the old adage is still true. You need to touch them 7 times before that sort of message resonates. And we still have a blend of whether it be radio, television, print, as well as everything that we're doing in the social space as well. But different consumers receive messages in different ways. And if you have a bucket of consumers who really are active in the social space, and you can utilize whether it be Facebook, LinkedIn, whether it be Twitter, all of the different sort of tools that you do have available today for a series of messages that if you're moving a consumer towards buying a particular product that you have available, if you've been able to touch them 3 or 4 times in the social space because they're active in that social space, it therefore reduces the spend that you need in what is deemed traditional media these days, radio, print, and TV. So therefore, you can move a lot of the resources and tools that you had that were used to be spent in traditional advertising over into the digital space to increase your staff, increase your product line, increase different aspects of how you want to grow that space to make it more active, if that makes sense. But and that's what we're slowly doing. We're getting out of the more traditional media and moving more into this social space to really sort of encourage consumers to have a relationship with us.
All right, Bob. I think Bob's got to hit the road. Bob, do you want one last comment or statement on the way out? It sounds like you're taking over the digital space here for the Minnesota Timberwolves. For people in social media, last question. I know you got to roll. What excites you in this new space? Is there something you're looking at, and what do you think is the future?
Yeah, the sky's the limit for us. There's so many different things we can try. Every new tool that comes out, we can evaluate and take a look at. And for everybody out there doing social media, no matter what industry or field they're in, give things a try and don't be afraid to fail, and fail fast. I think that's kind of a key point that all the books out there have said and all the great blogs have said. But until you put it into practice and really learn from your mistakes, that's the only way you're going to do it. And so that's what we're going to do at the Wolves. We're going to keep trying new things, and we're going to turn digital into a revenue driver and an engagement tool. And I'm looking forward to helping lead that charge. And I know I wasn't a scheduled guest tonight, so I really appreciate you guys having me on.
Absolutely. All right, we've only got about
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for jumping in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bob. Have a good night.
You too.
Hey, Charles, all those other people we killed earlier, they may be able to jump back on now.
Yeah, I'm sending out links.
When they get on.
I bet Brad will jump in. Hey, Chris, have you guys started or what success have you had with a Pinterest account yet?
Could you say that again?
Have you guys started a Pinterest account? And if you have, what kind of successes do you have, or what are you doing with that? Just kind of dabbling in it at this point, probably.
You know, have you got any? Have you guys started doing anything like that or not?
Yeah, we actually did. In fact, one of the folks, Alex Conover, who's on our social media side, is listening in right now, and maybe he can type in the comment here on the chat site. But we actually did a couple contests with Pinterest as well as Doodle, and had some success with that. And we're just going down the path. Obviously, with Bob coming on here in the last month, he's going to take us in some new directions that we've never touched before. But we have dabbled in it a little bit with some contests. And I myself have started to try to figure out how to do some things there. So if I can figure it out, anybody can figure it out. But ultimately, there's going to be more stuff into Lynx Nation and Wolves Nation down the road for us as well.
You know, I think it's 75% women right now on Pinterest. So that's why it's important.
That's what I found out as I started doing some of my interests or Pinterest. I think I have about 100 followers or so. They're all females. So I was thinking, what in the world's going on here?
Yeah, I just I put a link up here on the left talking about the Celtics and the New York Giants have done really well with Pinterest. Y'all can maybe get some ideas on what they're doing and stuff. It's, you know, anything in sports, you know, I've been doing sports since, you know, early 90s, and it's all visual, whether it's photos, videos. You know, fans want to see. I mean, we're a visual society. So that's why these things are doing so well. That's why YouTube and Pinterest do so well. And especially with sports, the people want to see the action. They don't want to just read about it. So that's why these things and social media is such a great platform. And especially like stuff like Google Hangouts. I mean, a lot of teams are now having players come on and talk to fans, interact with fans directly. It'd be a cool tool to do, you know?
I just spoke with Alex Conover, and he'll be on his way in.
Who's that?
Alex Conover. He works underneath Bob. He said that he will be on his way in just a few.
All right. Well, we only got about 10 more minutes now, guys. If y'all can hang on just 10 more minutes, if that's okay. I know y'all's time is pretty limited, so we appreciate you staying on this long.
Hey, Chris, I actually do have a question for you, kind of going off Pinterest, is that you mentioned that here in the U.S. it's very female-oriented or more female users, but in the U.K. it's actually the opposite. There's actually a lot more male users. Do you see that changing anytime soon here in the U.S.? I mean, obviously, Pinterest, their biggest growth area is going to be male users, but do you see men overwhelmingly signing up, or do you think for the short term it's going to be mostly female?
Jeff, I mean, in that you've used Pinterest, you know, what do you think about that? I mean, do you see any? Do you have any male followers at all, or is it all female right now?
You know, it's largely female, and from my understanding, you know, it's largely to do with shopping, different things for wedding planning type of thing. I think that's where it started, is what I gather. But I've tried to just put on there different things, whether it's music or books or movies, that type of thing, just to generate something, just to get going. And once again, I haven't dabbled too far into it. If Alex does get on here, Alex is pretty versed in it and actually has ran some really fun contests with both Doodle and Pinterest. So maybe if he has time, he can jump on here.
Sure.
I think just going back to the question around sort of the Brits, and obviously you know, the strange accent is coming through. You know, obviously if you take a look at the traditional sort of British sports, you know, if you take a look at the demographics of those sports, I mean they are so skewed male, whereas you know in our game, you know, obviously over 30% of our audience today is female. So you know, what Jeff Munneke has done, which is phenomenal in our sort of client development area, is really the Touchpoint program that we've developed there that, you know, embraces social media tremendously, is really look for a lot of female events and networking opportunities. for young women to be engaged in our franchise. We have something called Ladies Night Out, which we use a lot of social media for to try and sort of gather interest. And this is, it really isn't, it doesn't sort of pertain to Pinterest, but I think, Jeff, if I'm correct, towards the end of the season, we had our largest gathering of females in that Ladies Night Out of about 480 women, if I remember correctly, and that has grown from small groups initially that started at 20, 30 women coming to those events.
Correct.
So the great opportunity we have is that audience, to really grow that audience through social media.
It is a little Pinterest related, and I'll throw in a free idea for you since I'm on your books. You can do a pin board for Ladies Night Out and encourage your ladies to pin photos from that night on that board.
That's a great idea.
And that's something that's, really good engagement. And they will then, all the people that obviously follow them will then see those photos and things like that, and that should really help. I'm doing some work with a AA team this week, and one of the things I'm going to do is launch a Pinterest account for them because they are very family, mom-driven, obviously minor league sports. So, that's what kind of intrigues me about Pinterest. I know that they've been having some success, and I just posted an article about 30 ideas for Pinterest that was on Mashable, I think, the other week. And, just posting photos, engagement, things like that on your pins, and then also merchandise and women-specific merchandise and things like that. I think a lot of teams are having some success with.
That's a great idea. Sorry, Chris.
We have 3 Chris's on here, which is always hard, but everyone keeps going Chris, and I'm like, and then Chris and Chris. But I do have to ask. You said your accent or whatever. Where are you from?
I'm a Brit through and through. Chelsea Bayern was must-see watching over the weekend.
Okay.
I'm an old EPL guy who came over here for soccer reasons.
Okay, then I got to ask you a question. What soccer over there is so big, and the passion and all that. What's the difference between, and why were you interested in coming over here and owning a team from the United States, like an NBA team, as opposed to owning like a soccer team over there?
Yeah, I mean, I wish I was the owner of the Minnesota Timberwolves. Unfortunately, I'm not. I run the business.
That's right, president. Yeah,
well,
okay. I'm sorry. Yeah.
You've elevated my status in 45 minutes.
President to owner is awesome.
I just think that my background was with Edward J. DeBartolo on the San Francisco 49ers and the Penguins, and then I came here to be with the Minnesota Strikers, and then ended up in sort of the NBA. But it's fascinating, really, in sports. I mean, we used to do everything that we possibly could in the MISL to get people into the arena to watch the games, and so we were very grassroots orientated back in the day, to try and find those people who would go and support sports, support indoor soccer. Really today, that one-on-one marketing mantra is really what we're utilizing in professional sports in the NBA today. It really is all about one-on-one marketing and really figuring out what the consumer wants and then over-delivering on every single consumer's needs. And really, so if I go back 30 years ago in my career to today, not a lot has changed except the way that we do business. And obviously the social media is a massive part of that today.
I was going to say to everybody, too, in regards to our female audience and Pinterest, we also have something called Ricky Rubio that tends to work pretty well for us. In fact, today Ricky showed up at our Lynx home opener, and all game long, he had a trail of young females trying to get his photo and an autograph. So Ricky doesn't hurt us in that regard.
Yeah, for everybody who's online, I mean, sometime you should just go to Ricky's Twitter account and take a look at the number of followers. It was interesting for us today. I mean, we're all tweeting around the game, but Rubio walks in and he immediately tweeted from courtside. I think it's 860,000 followers right now, and that was followed up with Lindsay Whalen at the end of the game. She has somewhere in the region of I think, 28,000 followers, followed by a tweet from Maya Moore, who's got 68,000 followers. So it's just fascinating to see, the number of people that are following all the professional athletes today, and what a great opportunity that is for the teams, obviously, to access everybody who has interest in our stars.
Why he's popular? He has the same birthday as Laura Meyer and myself. So that's why he's popular. Although, don't bring that up because Laura has a birthday phobia.
And by the way, Brad was someone we kicked off earlier for Mr. Wright to come on. So we're going to allow Brad one last question. We wrap up in 3 minutes. We felt bad that the Turk had to lay it on you, Brad. But Brad is back. Brad, do you have a question?
Well, I was just one thing to add on the Pinterest thing. I know one thing we saw is one of our early boards we did on our end early on. We just had a board filled with photos of various drivers and with.
He's with NASCAR, by the way, everyone. So go ahead, Brad.
And of all the stuff we've done, that's probably had the best as far as the repainting and interaction. It's great because the amount of there again with the number of females that are on Pinterest, and obviously with NASCAR, that's a market that you want to market to every market, but in the last 20 years, you've obviously seen with NASCAR and motorsports, the female audience has grown, so that kind of taps with Pinterest really, feeds right into that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of a no-brainer for us to have a presence on there.
All right. Well, I want to wrap this up and say I appreciate you guys coming on. What did you think? I'll let y'all get your last closing comments. Jeff, start with you, and then Mr. Wright with you. Jeff, go ahead. What did you think about your first Google Hangout, and just about all this social media stuff for each? To wrap up.
I'll tell you, it's fascinating. And as Bob and I were sampling this the other night, now being on live, I can completely see the application as it presents itself for small season ticket holder visits, or having a player come on to meet maybe some of our high-level or A-level accounts, or maybe it's a specific group that has questions about a renewal. So this is unbelievable access and unbelievable opportunity, I think, for us to engage further with the fans.
All right, we're going to close with the president. The president always gets the last word.
Hey, thanks. And first of all, I apologize for being late to the party. Again, when you're 62 and you've got technical problems, your mind doesn't quite work as quickly as I think. That if I look at the audience here, the average age has got to be around about, 25, 26, and Ken, you and me.
You're kind, dude. Yeah, kind. Yeah. Let me lean down again. There.
I think we take the average age just up a little bit, but for those of you that are sort of in the trenches on this stuff, keep fighting with people like me, to get the resources that you need to really develop the digital space inside of whatever sports property it is that you work for. You guys are the trailblazers. You are where the great world of sports is going from a communication standpoint. And, remember that it is one-on-one marketing. Figure out your consumers. Figure out the way that they want to be communicated with, and make sure that you fight for the resources. Get into that president's office or the VP of communications. Make sure you fight for the resources that you need to be able to communicate with your fans.
Outstanding. Thanks, everybody. And we'll see you again next Sunday, Sports Business Chat, with some of the great thought leaders and sports business people in the world. Thanks, everybody. Go T-Wolves.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Have a good night.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, everybody.
Guys.
Thanks a lot, guys.